The obsession. Have you ever wondered how someone can afford to give away millions of dollars and somehow become even richer? Private islands, luxury cars, suitcases filled with cash, entire houses handed to complete strangers. On the surface, it looks impossible. Every new video seems more expensive than the last, with production budgets that rival Hollywood films. While most creators worry about earning enough money to make their next upload, one YouTuber built a business by spending more than anyone else. Today, Jimmy Donaldson, better known as Mr. Beast, is one of the most influential creators on the planet. His videos attract hundreds of millions of views, his businesses generate enormous revenue, and his name has become synonymous with the biggest challenges and giveaways on the internet. But none of this happened overnight. Before the headlines, before the massive studios, and before the billion-dollar empire, there was just a teenager with an old computer, a dream, and an obsession that almost everyone around him failed to understand. For years, he uploaded video after video that barely anyone watched. He wasn't famous. He wasn't rich. Most people would have quit long before seeing any results. Instead, Jimmy did something different. He treated YouTube like a puzzle waiting to be solved. He studied every thumbnail, every title, every viral trend, every mistake. While other teenagers spent their free time playing games or hanging out with friends, Jimmy spent countless hours trying to answer one question. What makes someone click on a video? That single question would eventually change his life and transform YouTube forever. This is the story of how a kid with almost nothing built one of the biggest creator businesses in history. Jimmy Donaldson was born on May 7, 1998, in Wichita, Kansas, but he spent most of his childhood growing up in Greenville, North Carolina. Like millions of other kids, he enjoyed watching YouTube, but for him, it quickly became more than entertainment. It became an obsession. In 2012, at just 13 years old, Jimmy created his YouTube channel under the name Mr. Beast 6000. His earliest videos looked nothing like the spectacular productions people know today. He uploaded gameplay, reactions, tips for smaller creators, and random experiments, hoping that one of them would finally get noticed. Most didn't. Many videos received only a handful of views. Some barely reached a few dozen. For years, success seemed completely out of reach. But every upload taught him something new. He wasn't just making videos. He was collecting data. Every click, every comment, and every viewer who stopped watching became another clue about how the platform worked. Unlike most creators, Jimmy wasn't focused on becoming famous. He wanted to understand the system behind YouTube itself. That meant spending hours analyzing successful channels, discussing strategies with other small creators, and constantly experimenting with new ideas. His friends later described him as someone who thought about YouTube almost every waking hour. It wasn't a hobby anymore. It was becoming his life's mission. As graduation approached, Jimmy faced a decision that would shape the rest of his future. College was the safe choice. A traditional career was what most people expected. But deep down, he believed that if he devoted every ounce of his energy to YouTube, he could accomplish something extraordinary. It was a gamble with no guarantees. No steady income. No roadmap. Only faith in an idea that very few people believed could work. Most people saw a teenager wasting his time on the internet. Jimmy saw the opportunity of a lifetime. He had no way of knowing it yet, but after years of failure, one bizarre idea was about to change everything. Years of failure and the first viral breakthrough. For most people, years of failure are enough to make them quit. For Jimmy Donaldson, they became his greatest advantage. By the time many creators uploaded their first few videos, Jimmy had already spent thousands of hours studying YouTube. He wasn't just creating content. He was analyzing every detail behind it. Why did one thumbnail attract millions of clicks while another was ignored? Why did viewers stop watching after 30 seconds? What separated an average creator from someone with millions of subscribers? He treated every upload like an experiment. Every success revealed a pattern. Every failure taught him something new. As the years passed, Jimmy became known among a small group of creators for his obsession with the platform. They would spend hours talking about YouTube strategy, brainstorming ideas, and predicting which trends would take off next. While others focused on becoming internet celebrities, Jimmy focused on mastering the algorithm. But there was one problem. Understanding YouTube didn't automatically make him successful. His channel was still growing painfully slowly. Money was tight, and there was no guarantee that all those years of effort would ever pay off. To many people, it looked like he was chasing an impossible dream. Then, in 2017, everything changed. Jimmy uploaded one of the strangest videos YouTube had ever seen. He sat in front of a camera and counted from 1 to 100,000. The challenge took more than 40 hours to complete, forcing him to split the recording into multiple sessions before editing it into a single video. It sounded ridiculous. Most people thought no one would watch it. But that was exactly why people clicked. The video spread across YouTube at an incredible pace. Millions of viewers wanted to see whether someone had actually counted all the way to 100,000. Within weeks, Jimmy experienced something he had been chasing for nearly 5 years. A viral hit. His subscriber count exploded, news outlets covered the bizarre challenge, and suddenly millions of people knew the name Mr. Beast. For many creators, this would have been the moment to enjoy the money and celebrate. Jimmy had a different idea. Instead of spending his earnings on himself, he poured almost everything back into the next video. Better cameras. Better editing. Bigger ideas. Higher production quality. Every dollar became fuel for future growth. That decision would become the foundation of his entire career. As sponsorship opportunities began to appear, Jimmy didn't see them as a paycheck. He saw them as investment capital. If a company paid him to make a video, he looked for ways to make that video even bigger than the last one. The more exciting the content became, the more people watched. The more people watched, the more advertisers wanted to work with him. And the cycle repeated itself. Soon, his videos evolved from strange endurance challenges into massive social experiments and jaw-dropping giveaways. He gave away stacks of cash to strangers. He surprised waitresses with life-changing tips. He handed thousands of dollars to random people just to see their reactions. The generosity wasn't just entertaining, it made viewers feel like anything could happen in a Mr. Beast video. Every upload became an event. But behind the scenes, Jimmy wasn't trying to become the richest YouTuber. He was trying to build the biggest YouTube channel in the world. To do that, he knew one thing for certain. The next video always had to be better than the last. That relentless mindset would soon transform a successful YouTube channel into a business empire unlike anything the platform had ever seen. Building a billion-dollar empire. Most creators become successful by making videos. Jimmy Donaldson used his videos to build businesses. As Mr. Beast's audience grew into the tens of millions, so did the scale of his productions. Challenges that once cost a few $1,000s quickly turned into projects worth hundreds of thousands. Before long, some videos were costing more than $1 million to produce. To most people, that sounded like a terrible business strategy. Spend more money. Give away more prizes. Take bigger risks. Eventually, people assumed the money would run out. Instead, the exact opposite happened. Every bigger video attracted more viewers. More viewers brought in more advertising revenue. Larger audiences attracted bigger sponsorships. And every dollar earned was poured back into creating an even more ambitious production. It was a cycle that few creators were willing or able to copy. While others tried to maximize profit from each upload, Jimmy focused on maximizing attention. He believed that if he made the best videos on YouTube, the money would eventually follow. That philosophy became the foundation of everything he built. Soon, Mr. Beast wasn't just one YouTube channel. It became an entire network. He launched gaming channels, reaction channels, philanthropy content, and versions of his videos in multiple languages, allowing audiences around the world to experience the same content without relying on subtitles. Each new channel reached millions of viewers, expanding the MrBeast brand far beyond its original audience. But YouTube was only the beginning. Jimmy understood that online fame could disappear as quickly as it appeared. If he wanted to build lasting wealth, he needed businesses that could exist outside of the platform that made him famous. In 2020, he launched MrBeast Burger, a virtual restaurant brand that partnered with existing kitchens across the United States. Fans could order branded meals through food delivery apps, turning his online audience into real-world customers. The launch generated enormous attention, with thousands of orders placed almost immediately. While the business later faced operational challenges and legal disputes over food quality and management, it proved something important. The MrBeast name had become powerful enough to sell products far beyond YouTube. Jimmy didn't stop there. In 2022, he introduced Feastables, a chocolate company built around a simple idea: create snacks with straightforward ingredients and market them directly to his massive audience. Unlike many influencer products that disappear after a few months, Feastables quickly expanded into major retail stores and became one of the fastest-growing parts of his business portfolio. Suddenly, MrBeast wasn't just competing for views. He was competing in the consumer products industry. As his companies expanded, so did his team. Editors, producers, writers, camera operators, engineers, construction crews, visual effects artists. What had started as one teenager uploading videos from his bedroom had evolved into a company employing hundreds of people, all working toward one goal: creating videos that felt impossible to ignore. The scale of his productions became almost unbelievable. He recreated scenes inspired by popular shows, built enormous challenge sets from scratch, organized competitions involving dozens, sometimes hundreds, of contestants. Each project required months of planning before a single camera started rolling. To viewers, the videos looked effortless. Behind the scenes, they were the result of countless hours of preparation, testing, and problem solving. By this point, Jimmy was no longer thinking like a YouTuber. He was thinking like the CEO of a global entertainment company. His content generated billions of views every year. His businesses continued to expand. And industry experts began valuing the MrBeast brand at extraordinary levels, making him one of the wealthiest creators in the world while he was still in his 20s. It seemed like everything he touched turned into success. But with greater fame came greater scrutiny. As his empire grew larger, so did the criticism. Some questioned whether his business model was sustainable. Others accused him of chasing views at any cost. And behind the cameras, the pressure to create bigger, better, and more expensive videos never stopped. For Jimmy Donaldson, building the empire was only half the battle. Keeping it alive would become an even greater challenge. Challenges, legacy, and ending. Success has a way of changing everything. For Jimmy Donaldson, it didn't just bring fame and fortune, it brought pressure unlike anything he had ever experienced. By the time MrBeast had become one of the biggest creators in the world, millions of people expected every upload to be larger than the last. Every challenge had to feel impossible. Every prize had to be bigger. Every video had to outperform the one before it. There was no room for average. When your audience is measured in hundreds of millions, expectations become almost impossible to meet. Behind the scenes, Jimmy has spoken about the enormous responsibility that comes with running such a massive operation. Hundreds of employees depend on the success of his businesses, and every major production requires months of planning and millions of dollars before it ever earns a single view. One failed video could mean losing millions. That kind of pressure would overwhelm most people. But Jimmy continued pushing forward. As his influence grew, so did the criticism. Some questioned whether giving away so much money was genuine or simply entertainment designed to generate more views. Others argued that his business model, constantly reinvesting enormous amounts into each new production, was too risky to last forever. His ventures also faced setbacks. MrBeast Burger, despite its explosive launch, became the center of public legal disputes over food quality and business operations. Jimmy eventually distanced himself from the project, saying that the customer experience no longer reflected the standards he wanted associated with his name. For many entrepreneurs, a setback like that could damage an entire brand. Instead, Jimmy focused on what he did best: building, improving, moving forward. While one business struggled, another was rapidly gaining momentum. Feastables continued expanding into major retailers, reaching customers far beyond YouTube. At the same time, his international channels introduced the MrBeast brand to audiences in dozens of languages, proving that his style of entertainment could succeed almost anywhere in the world. His company was no longer just creating videos. It was creating intellectual property, consumer products, global media, and a brand recognized by millions of people across nearly every continent. And perhaps that was Jimmy Donaldson's greatest achievement. He didn't simply become a successful YouTuber. He redefined what being a creator could mean. Before MrBeast, many people saw YouTube as a platform where individuals uploaded videos from their bedrooms. After MrBeast, creators began thinking much bigger. Studios instead of spare rooms. Companies instead of channels. Brands instead of personalities. He showed an entire generation that content creation wasn't just a hobby, it could become one of the most powerful businesses of the digital age. But if there's one lesson that stands above all the money, all the views, and all the records, it's this: success rarely happens overnight. People often see the private jets, the million-dollar giveaways, and the billions of views. What they don't see are the years when almost nobody was watching. The thousands of hours spent studying titles and thumbnails. The endless experiments. The failures that taught him what success eventually required. Long before the world knew the name MrBeast, Jimmy Donaldson had already made a decision. He wasn't going to quit. And in the end, that may have been the most valuable investment he ever made. Because the greatest thing MrBeast built wasn't a chocolate company, or a restaurant brand, or even one of the biggest YouTube channels in history. It was proof that relentless curiosity, constant improvement, and the willingness to bet on yourself can transform an ordinary teenager into the leader of a billion-dollar empire. From a kid with a dream and an old computer, to one of the most influential entrepreneurs on the internet, this is how MrBeast built his empire. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more documentaries about the world's most successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and billionaires, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.